Ready to go.
Hello everybody, how are we all doing? Hopefully you can all hear me and see me okay. Let me know, flick me a comment to let me know that that's all working well for you at your end of things. So just for those of you who don't know me yet, my name is Nancy and I am the host of the Women's Business Accelerator. Just a place for us to come together, talk about our businesses, our lives, and hopefully learn a few things from each other. So I'm super excited today. We all hear so much about Instagram, there's so many things going on, shadow banning and algorithm changes and hashtags. So I'm really excited to have Nicola Noble with us today. So Nicola, in fact, used 3 different Instagram accounts and studied them, experimented with them, and then came up with, a list of best practices that she's going to share with us today. So I'm really excited. I'm going to introduce her, bring her in right now. Oh, hey. Can we hear you?
Hey.
Can we see you?
I hope so.
I hope so.
I'm hoping that this new system works. It's very fancy. I'm watching it on my phone.
It's very, very exciting. I know. So Nicola, you're studying the diploma in creativity right now, is correct?
That is correct.
And that's how you ended up experimenting with Instagram. Tell me a little bit about how you chose Instagram, why you chose Instagram even, and what this is all about.
That's actually a really good question. And I think it started off at the beginning of the year. I was in my bullet journal, funnily enough, I had written, I need to increase my engagement on my business page. It was terrible. It was maybe 2 or 3 likes and I was feeling really miserable and I was like, no one ever goes. I don't get any traffic from Instagram. I don't even know why I bother.
Yeah.
So, just after that, I started my course, and one of the assignments was write a series of blog posts.
Nice.
Obviously, teaching in the 21st century. Write a series of blog posts about how a part of the internet affects society. And I was like, oh, well, I could do it on Facebook. There's been all that crap about Facebook at the moment. I could do it on Tinder, I could do it on Spotify.
That
I
would
could
have
do
been
it
a very
on
different assignment.
A very different assignment. Top 5 tips of what not to do on Tinder.
Yes.
Although, side note, totally unrelated. I met my partner on Tinder.
Congratulations.
Anyway, so I ended up choosing Instagram because I was like, well, I don't really know as much about it as I would like. And maybe it gives me a couple of really good ways to increase my reach and increase my engagement.
Perfect.
So off I went and did my research, and I thought, what better way to understand it as well is to essentially email some of the biggest names on Instagram.
Yeah, of course.
People with, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of followers. And I was like, let's see how high I can go. So I would just send out emails saying, hey, I would love to interview you for my paper. I'm doing this research paper on Instagram and I'm interested to know a variety of questions about you and how you respond to Instagram and what works for you. Almost all of them replied, which was amazing. So now I've got another probably, I think maybe 20 interviews in the pipeline, which is pretty cool.
Wow, that's a lot.
It's a lot, but I thought, hey, I'll just keep building this up now. Why not?
Why not?
That's kind of how I got to the point we're at now, which has been quite interesting.
Amazing. So you have 3 different accounts that you've played with. Talk to me a little bit about how you treated them differently, how you decided to differentiate them.
Okay, so my first one was my business account. I've had that account for maybe 5 years, and I was just doing the standard businessy stuff with it, where you post maybe once a day and you use some hashtags in your business niche and you just do the general stuff. So you make a bit of content, you maybe post some behind the scenes stuff, just the general businessy kind of thing that you would assume you're doing to keep relevant.
Yeah.
So I had that account and I thought, okay, that's the one that I need to boost. So what I did with that is I went in and thought, how do I boost my account? And I actually secretly bought followers. Don't judge. It
Clearly
was for
not
a reason.
Secret anymore. Your secret's out.
My secret talent. I bought followers. I bought about 500 followers.
Okay.
And it's not that expensive. Just side note, it's like, I think it's like $6 or something ridiculous. And it literally is instant. In maybe half an hour, you have 500 extra followers.
That's
it's bizarre.
insane, yeah.
But what I did find, however, is the minute I hit the 3,000 mark, so the 3,000 follower mark, I was already at about 2,500.
Yeah.
And the minute I hit the 3,000 mark, it just whirlwinded. So people would see it a lot more than when my account was 400 people or 500 people.
Really?
I found that it got to this kind of certain tipping point where it was like boom, and then it was this mad rush. But the bought followers essentially decrease your engagement because they're not doing anything. They're not liking your posts. They're not interacting. Essentially, they're unfollowing you after a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
So it damages your engagement.
Right, so not
now
recommended.
Highly not recommended, but it was a good test, right?
Okay, yeah, of course.
So then I got into my second account, which is the one that I'd say probably has given me the most information. And how it came about was I was sitting around over New Year's and was going through my bullet journal again. And when I was writing down increased engagement on my stupid account, I was sitting there and I was like, why are there no accounts that group themes together? Why do I have to go hunting on Pinterest and everywhere? Why is nothing grouping things together so that I can go and go, I want to do something pink today, click on pink and make something pink.
Yeah.
So that's what I did is I rounded up some really cute pink posts and just started posting them. But before I did that, I decided actually if I'm going to post this, I want it to be shared with as many people as possible.
Of course.
So this was the first time I'd ever done real Instagram hashtag research. So what I did was I went through a series of steps. I went through what is the most popular hashtag used by people in this niche.
Okay.
You want a really big one with maybe 1.2 upwards million hashtags.
Okay, that goes
And then you
against the grain a little bit.
But then you want to decrease it gradually till you get to maybe your last 5 hashtags, which are in the 2,000 to 3,000 posts in a hashtag range.
Okay.
So you've got this kind of flow-on effect from the biggest hashtag, which everybody's following, all the way down to some of these more nichey pieces. So pink something, pink theme, or something really nichey.
Yeah.
So I did that for each one of my posts. I tested a series of 60. And I just alternated between the 60 to find my perfect 30.
Yeah.
Now I alternate between my perfect 30.
Perfect.
So it does take a lot of work. But what I found was that it was like wildfire. The minute I had created an environment that was kind of habitable for other people to come and have a look at, it just grew like wildfire. And I maintained the momentum by posting regularly. So at the moment I schedule all my posts and we post up to about 6 or 7 times a day.
Wow.
It's intense. So it takes a bit of time to do that, but it's all scheduled. So once it's scheduled, I walk away and it just posts in the background for me and it keeps up my engagement for me.
Yeah.
I think, however, that if there was an engagement there, it probably wouldn't have picked up.
Yeah.
So I think there's that combination of the engagement and that research of the hashtags.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
My third account was the can I replicate my second account? And I did.
Fabulous.
But I thought I'll keep it to a topic I know nothing about.
Yeah.
And I chose minimalism. So I chose just a random hashtag. I called it the part-time minimalist. My partner's a minimalist, so I thought, I'm going to wing this one. And researched the hashtags again and posted only 3 times a day over the free trial period that I think one of the scheduling things had. And I tested over the time, I tested which would be better, hashtags in your caption, hashtags in your comments. I then also tested how quickly my engagement grew or dropped. So I would not post for one day and see if my engagement dropped or if my engagement increased.
Oh, wow.
And I only ran it for those 2 weeks. And in that 2 weeks, I think it was close on 50 followers. I've now lost some because it's now been a week where I haven't posted at all. So within those 2 weeks, I grew 50 followers. I didn't actively go looking for followers. So that wasn't my aim was to get followers. My aim was to get reach and engagement. So 50 followers for no effort is pretty good.
Yeah.
My engagement was over 91%, which is unheard of.
That's great.
And because usually accounts sit at around 3 or 4%. That's pretty normal.
Yeah.
It's usually supposed to be higher in the 8 or 9% if you're a smaller account. So say between 500 and 1,000, you're supposed to be in that nice, pushy 8% range.
Okay.
And then the higher you go, the lower your reach actually gets, which is quite interesting when you start talking about marketing influencers and people that actually sell posts.
Yeah, so you really dive deeply into studying all of this. So what do you think, out of your whole experiment, what was the most surprising aspect to you? Like the thing you went, I really didn't expect that to be a thing.
I was really not expecting that if you have no engagement on your feed, this sounds terrible, there is very little you can do to regroup your engagement.
It doesn't bode well, does it?
No, it doesn't. So, because, essentially I've got this huge account. I've got this huge following on my business account, but I can't get any more than, let's say, 23 likes on a post. And over the last wee while, I've been trying a whole bunch of different stuff to get that engagement back up again. And there's some stuff that's working and there's some stuff that's definitely not working. And I'm just finding that once Instagram has almost categorized you as a non-engaging account, that it almost keeps you there, and it's really hard to kind of pull your way out of that barrel.
Oh, that's tough. It's tough. So once you're kind of growing engagement, you want to keep that going. You want to keep that momentum building.
You want to keep that momentum. Yeah.
So obviously we're a business group and we want our businesses to all succeed and thrive on Instagram. Do you think Instagram is a perfect platform for all businesses, or do you think there's a certain type of business that works better?
No, I think it's perfect for all businesses. It doesn't really matter what you are. I think if you are an automotive workshop, perhaps, maybe not the best platform, but it's still going to drive people that love cars to your site, right? You've got a common niche with someone. And I think you've got to be very intentional about what you post as well. One of the key things that came through from the interviews was I'm very intentional about what I give to my followers and what I share with them.
Yeah. So no sort of haphazard, I'll just post this today. It has to be very focused and very thought through.
Yes.
So for anybody who's still, I guess, on a personal Instagram account for their business, would you recommend switching to a business account to get those analytics?
Absolutely. It would be ridiculous not to. If you're still on a personal account, you need to swap over to those analytics, because the more you understand what your follower base enjoys, and granted, let's say 90% of your followers is your mum, then that's okay, because you know what mum likes. But the other 10%, you want to know what kind of demographic they are. I recently discovered that quite a large demographic that I have in the big group are Thai. And I didn't actually realize that until the other day when I was actually going through my details. So I was able to do a whole separate thing just for them. And it really created some positive engagement on my stories.
Hey, that's real cool.
Yeah.
Real cool. So that whole idea that switching to a business account will drop your engagement, you think that's not true, it's just Insta rumors?
I think it's Insta rumors. Last weekend I hit 1.2 million in engagement on that account. I don't think it's dropped at all.
All right, so let's take a look at hashtags. We've spoken a little bit about hashtags. Andrea Little wants to know how many hashtags should she be using and where should she put them? Obviously, there's a lot of talk about putting them in comments, putting them, all your hashtags. Only use 5, they say. Oh, no, use all 30. So what have you found to be the most effective hashtag strategy there?
Okay, I have found no difference between comments and captions. There is no interchange, no change, no dip. I've had I've
like
had
that.
posts go viral with it in the comments. I've had posts go viral within the comments.
Fantastic. We can scratch that question off then, can't we?
Totally scratch that question. The only thing that Instagram does do, which I find quite interesting, and I've noticed it recently, is Instagram wants their feed to look really nice and neat. Mm-hmm. So the minute you put it in your caption, fascinating fact, is they shrink the caption down. So it looks really nice and neat. So that's why you put the dots in, is because it shrinks it down and just kind of has a one-liner. Nice. So if you've got, say, 4 words that you want people to know in that caption, you need those 4 words up front before Instagram kind of deletes the rest of your post.
Right. Okay. So always put the most important things right at the top of your caption. Cool.
Yes.
And any tips for hashtag research? She specifically asked, how do I attract New Zealand customers? But I think this is sort of anybody who's trying to specifically target customers. So any tricks or tips for hashtag research?
Yes. You want to start off with that layered approach where you're looking for the biggest hashtag and then working your way down. So if it happens that the bottom hashtags are New Zealand artist, NZ, super cool kids, whatever it is that you're finding at the bottom of your hashtags for New Zealand specific, you're going to start getting some kind of gravitas in those specific areas. The other thing that I noticed recently is if you're doing stories regularly, make sure you're using your hashtag in your stories. I get more views in my stories from the hashtag than I do from my organic reach, which is phenomenal.
It's amazing, yeah.
And I'm finding that people actually are starting to work out that you can watch hashtag stories.
Yeah.
So, and I think the more that that's catching on, the more, if you're ahead of the game in that hashtag story piece, people are going to start clicking on your stuff as well.
Absolutely. So Ashley Fielder asks about branding. How important, first of all, do you think having a cohesive theme actually is?
Oh, I think for me, I think it's really important. I'd say that my business account has kind of been all over the place while I kind of find my personal style.
Yeah.
But I've found that particularly on my big account, people actually are rather pernickety now about the fact that I'm not providing consistent stuff. Even Rose this morning, if she's still watching, I had a glitch with my scheduling app. And it posted something that was only due for later next week. Mm-hmm. And she was like, what is this? It's not part of your feed. And I was like, oh I don't know. So, whoops, delete that. No, it was actually just a total glitch. It disappeared afterward. I'm not sure what happened. But yeah, we found that people are really specific about the feed, and people will comment on your whole feed on one post. So if, for example, the test page that I did, I made sure that it was for minimal. I kept it minimal vibe, black and green, some cactuses. I don't know.
Yeah,
cactuses
so people start to expect. So people start to expect that from you.
Yeah, exactly. And I had quite a number of comments on that particular feed saying, hey, we really love the aesthetic of your feed, or we really like the feel of this. It's really lovely. So I think it's really important to find something that works for you. Don't find something that works for the general populace. No, you need to find something that works for you because you need to maintain it, not someone else.
Absolutely. So with that in mind, any tips of how to build a cohesive theme? Like, I think the specific question was for not too pricey. But, you know, is there any...
Easy, lemon squeezy.
Oh,
so
God.
easy. So easy. Okay. So you need to work out first what your brand is going to be. Is it going to be, let's go for example, the minimalist route, right? You know it's going to be black, kind of like a green and some cactuses. Simple. You know it's going to have simple lettering. So you're going to have some sort of simple lettering for your logo or your branding or whatever it is that you're going to have. Mm-hmm. All you need to do is go onto Canva.
Love Canva.
You upload your branding to Canva. And there, essentially, you have everything set up for you. It's free.
Yeah.
You can pay for the paid version. I'm not sure. I think it's like $10 a month, $10 US a month.
Yeah, it's not too expensive. It's great.
No. And I literally use it for everything. I've set it up now for all of my specific posts or my like general posts that I'm making. And because it's set up, I now just drop photos in and text and I'm gone.
Amazing.
It takes me 20 seconds.
Amazing. Perfect. So what are some of the biggest mistakes you see businesses and brands making on Instagram, do you think?
Not posting enough.
Yeah.
I think people assume that they can get away with maybe 1 times a day, 1 times a week. And then you're using the wrong hashtags. I don't know. It's all over the place. It's been really interesting, mistake-wise. When I did the interviews, that was one of the questions I asked the interviewees was, what did you feel was your biggest learning curve?
Yeah.
And almost all of them said actually being accessible 24 hours a day was really challenging for them.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because people assume because you're on Instagram that you're accessible to everybody all over the world 24 hours a day. So that was one of the big things that came through, and also that piece around creating your own branding and not stealing from someone else's and not creating something that is aesthetic. You know, sure, use your competitor's idea because it's your biggest competitor. See what they're doing and kind of emulate your own feeling around that.
Put your own spin on it, absolutely. You need to stand out. What's the point of blending in with everybody else?
This is true.
So let's go to, obviously, I know that we spoke about Instagram bios, and you were very passionate about getting a strong Instagram bio. So what are some of the aspects of a good Instagram bio?
That's really tricky. You want to have, I think with your Instagram bio, you've got essentially 130 characters to sell yourself, and then you've got 150 characters, well, you've got 130 in your name and 150 in your bio to sell. That is your job. You are a business. Sell yourself.
True.
So, for example, in my name, I don't actually have my name at all. Because that's not the first thing what are people going to know when they click on Nicola Noble?
Yeah.
You know, woo, this is a great name. So instead what I've got there is graphic designer and I think watercolor artist. And then in my bio, I've got my name and some general information about me. So I've got my social credibility that says, oh geez, I might have to go in and have a look. But essentially it has social credibility and then your hook.
Yeah.
So what do you want people to do? So I want people to go to my freebies page and subscribe, so that way I can spam you with all this stuff. No, spam, God, no. God. But essentially that's what I'd like people to do is I want them to go to my webpage. That's where I want to send them because that's where all the actions happen.
Sure.
So the minute I get them to the webpage, I've got things set up on the webpage for them. And that's why in my bio, I think I've got 2 fingers pointing down saying, click here for all the cool stuff or grab freebies here. And I've just made it really simple, but you've got to keep it short. And I think in our PDF that we're going to give out to everyone, is in there, I've actually drawn up your name and your bio with the number of characters that you have
fabulous.
to use.
That's actually quite hard to figure out when you're actually in the app.
I know, and then you're like typing and you're like, oh, I'm 32 words over, and it's like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
And, for my big account, for example, again, I don't use my name. I have featured bullet journal or featured inspirational bullet journals. Mm-hmm. So that way when people see my name come up, they go, oh, she's featuring me. She's not just some random handle.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So then again, underneath that, then I've got my bio around like here, and this is the theme we have, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. So if somebody was like, right, I'm going to get serious now, and I'm going to make Instagram my platform to focus on for 2018, how much time can they expect to spend on that day, and what should they be focusing that time on? Roughly. I mean, obviously, exactly 3.5 hours.
Say the first thing you need to do is go on to, there's a couple of websites where you can audit your Instagram. Mm-hmm. And I'd say the key one to check is there's a thing called Micro-Influencer. And you go in and you punch in your username, and it essentially tells you how much you should be earning per post.
Really?
True story.
Amazing.
It's diabolical. So Kim Kardashian, for example, because that's the default that they put in is Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, of course.
She earns close to $270,000 per post.
Wow, wouldn't that be nice? But
so
we
now
be
that's going to open your mind up, isn't it? You're going to look at yours, and yours is, let's say, for example, my business one. It's just the engagement's terrible. It's like. It's terrible. It's like 0.9%. It's god awful. Anyway, and it says I should be earning $23 a post. So that means if I'm posting 3 times a day, I should be earning $60 a day.
That's amazing.
But I'm not.
No.
Why am I not? It's because my engagement is down and people are not going to my website.
Right, yeah. So you need
so
to get
it gives you good insight as to where you need to start fixing things. What I usually like doing as well is I like having a look, as the first thing to do is just go and have a look at your biggest competitors. Mm-hmm. Sit down with your biggest, like not with them, but sit down with those names and see how many posts they have, their hashtag or their name into the micro-influencer and see what their percentage of engagement is, because maybe their percentage is lower than yours. That'll be a nice pick-me-up.
Yeah.
But you want to make sure that you understand where you're actually at. You need to understand where you're at to kind of
your benchmark.
Forward.
Yeah.
Exactly. Once you've got your benchmark to work towards, set yourself some goals. Fix up your bio and your name. Research those hashtags. And schedule your posts. I don't want to recommend to anyone to sit there 3 to 4 times a day posting on Instagram, because you're going to take up like 2 hours of your life.
Yeah, we all own small businesses. We've got enough to do already.
So I highly recommend just outsourcing everything to just to like a scheduling app, and there's hundreds of great scheduling apps. I've tried them all. And just push it out there. So for example, on my feed, I've essentially got 3 weeks of posts planned where I don't need to even go onto Instagram. All I need to do is essentially check comments and messages.
Amazing. It's pretty simple.
So that's I'd say time saver. Sit down on a Sunday night, plan out your posts for a week. Done.
Sweet. Perfect. So I guess now, go to any questions. Are there any questions that have come up? Anybody got any last minute questions they want to ask Nicola? If not, I guess we're going to cut to showing you. Nicola's set up a beautiful PDF download so that you can audit your own Facebook page, Instagram account. And, oh, look, see it right there. So we'll put the link probably in the comments or in the post of this video, so you can link to this and download it yourself. So hopefully you can see there's a big Instagram PDF. That's the bio section she was talking about with all the characters. Can you see that, Nicola?
I can. This is a very fancy app.
That's amazing. I'm very impressed, I know. So talk to us a little bit just really briefly about what this is and how best to use it.
Okay, sure. So I'd say you'll see right at the front, I've kind of got that aspect right at the front that says looking at your current situation. I've given 2 links. I've given the link to go and check out those micro-influencer sites I told you about and just pick your engagement percentage, and then check out your Social Blade ranking. So a Social Blade ranking, it's a public site, and essentially you can go onto it and essentially see where you rank in Instagram.
Yeah.
Once you know where you rank, you can kind of again then go, okay, well, I'm doing really well in comparison to, or I'm not doing as great as I thought I was. Mm-hmm. So it's a good place to start. When you do the engagement check, there is an option below that says get your full statistics. It's free. Get your full statistics. As it defines down all of your followers all the way down essentially to what brand affiliation they have.
Really?
So my followers love Disney, apparently.
Amazing.
Disney and Apple are the two biggest things. It also defines down to a point what your most popular hashtags have been, what your most popular, or how many times you've mentioned someone in your posts, how many times you've been mentioned in other people's posts.
Amazing.
It really drills down and gives you some really good tips. Then on the blue page, we've got the social media web. And essentially, in your mind, you want to sit down and you want to go, okay, what are the things driving people to my website, to my whatever page I want, wherever I want people to go, what is driving them to that site? And then think about how you're going to put that in play. How are you going to drive them? What are you going to say to people to get them to your website or to your sign up form or your freebies or whatever it is?
Yeah.
Then I've got a list of things that you just need to check to make sure that you know where you're going. Make sure you've got a specific goal you want your customers to undertake. So is it signing up to a
newsletter
subscription? Is it going to a web page? Whatever it may be. Then going through, I've included Photor, which is a great photo editing app, and you can create a whole heap of things in there. Personal favorite though, Canva, amazing.
Agreed.
Adobe Spark's great for stories. You can create some really fun stories because they're animated.
Yeah.
Snapseed for editing photos if you're taking product photos or you choosing to go down that route. And if all else fails and you need to preload yourself with a theme, Creative Marketplace has really, really cheap theme sets. So you can essentially buy a set of, let's say, 50 purple posts for like $25.
Amazing. What a hack.
And you can just post those in your scheduler, which is really easy and super helpful. Then what I've done is I've said, make sure you have the following ready. Make sure you have your logos ready, you have a location that you want to send those people to, you have an idea around what you want your aesthetics to look like, and you have a folder ready for your profile graphics. Then going into your Instagram, making sure you have your username in your profile and making sure that that's really Loctite, and then using your really great real estate for your bio. Then what I've done on the page after that is I've kind of drawn the first 9 blocks that you can see. So go in there and draw it with your hand. What do you want it to look like? Do you want the posts to interconnect? Do you want it to be interspersed with quotes? Because that'll drive some traffic to your page, is quotes. People love quotes. Are there quotes that you're creating? Or is it something that you want to create into that space to kind of create a different aesthetic? Then we've got the preparing hashtags. I highly recommend going to the web page display purposes. It does that leveling of your hashtags for you. Don't rely on it, however. Use it for your research. Don't rely on it to just copy and paste because it will not help you at all. Sometimes it does, but it's not ideal.
No.
And I realized I didn't actually add the link, but you can Google display purposes and it comes up.
Yeah, we'll put some links in the post, I think.
It's a really simple thing to use. You just punch in your hashtag and it gives you 30 hashtags back.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting if you're real stuck for ideas of what to link through.
Yeah, and it does other languages as well, which is pretty fun.
Yeah, it's so fun.
So if you're focusing on New Zealand, potentially don't use the other languages. I don't. Obviously. Then essentially send them all to a scheduling site. Really simple, really straightforward. At the moment, I'm using a combination of 3. only because I want to use them for different things. So, for example, Iconosquare, which I didn't add on here, but Iconosquare gives really good statistical analysis on your posts, which I really like. And then Hopper HQ, they're such a lovely bunch. They're a startup, and they actually, when I started using them, because I'm probably one of the bigger accounts that use them at the moment, they gave me a discount on it with a discount code and said, oh, share this with everyone. So I was like, okay, cool. So now I'm using that with a discount.
Amazing.
If I'm honest. But it's actually really, what I like about it in comparison to the other pages or the other schedulers, you can actually put your little blocks, your Instagram squares where you want them and then schedule them.
Amazing.
So you can see what it looks like before you schedule them. So you can kind of line them up in the aesthetic that you want and see how they kind of fit together before you schedule, which I actually really like.
Yeah, fair
So
enough.
I use it for that. And then I use Buffer for almost everything else because I find that it's really great to just link into my Pinterest and my blog and things like that.
Yeah.
And Buffer, what's really great about Buffer is if you use CoSchedule for your blogging or website, Buffer actually ties into CoSchedule as well, so they work together quite nicely.
Yep, perfect.
And then we put some Instagram homework down for people. Do you want to go through what they're doing as homework, Nancy?
Yes, so we have decided, let me see if I can bring it back to screen here. Here we go. So we have decided that we want to do a Instagram challenge in the WBA for the next 2 weeks. So that means, where did I write this down? So that means what we want you to do is to update your bio, your name, your link, obviously what we've talked about and what's in the PDF that you can download. Update that. We want you to spend time scheduling posts that you think your audience is going to love. Actually take the time to really consider what you're posting, your captions, putting those important things up top, and obviously hashtag research as well. So taking time to really think about your hashtags, play around with them. And so we're going to be checking in with you. I'm going to be doing it too, and so we're all going to be doing it together in the group. And we'll be checking in and we'll be seeing how we're progressing and seeing how everyone's doing. So if everyone's excited, that'll be our challenge for the next 2 weeks, an Instagram challenge. So yeah, who's keen? Fantastic. So I think that's everything, unless there's been any more questions come through, but I don't believe there has been. I think we're good. And no, I think we're good. So thank you so much, Nicola. It's really great having you chatting to us, and hopefully everybody's picked up a few things there. And we'll be seeing you in the group, obviously helping people, I guess, with their Instagram and our challenge. And we'll catch you all later. Hopefully you've loved this live chat, and we'll be organising more. So it's great to have you all. Welcome to the WBA, and until next time, Tim.